Hey everyone, it's Kyron back here with a brand new video from No BS Crypto. If you are new to my channel, I would like to extend a very warm welcome. My goal with this channel is to provide you no BS crypto content on a weekly basis. So jumping straight into today's video, I want to give you my take on participating in the Polkadot Crowdloans. Whether you adopt my way of thinking and go ahead and do that yourself, or if I simply give you something to think about, I've done my job. Just remember to do your own research. And just a little update I'd like to let you all know, unfortunately, just because my channel has grown in size so quickly, which I want to also thank you so much for, really do appreciate that, I can't respond to comments as much as I used to. Unfortunately, I really do like interacting with every single one of you and helping you all out. But as I say, unfortunately, just because it's grown so quickly, it's taking hours and hours to respond to all my comments. So instead, I will respond to comments immediately after I post a video, wait a few days, and respond to the comments on the same video, a couple days later. So with all that being said, if you would like to direct message me in any way, please go join my Discord or also DM me on Twitter, where I'm a lot more active, but still it does take a lot of time to get to messages. The links will be in the description. Okay, so first of all, I feel it's completely necessary to tell you all my opinion on the Polkadot Crowdloans in general, just so you know where I actually stand. But as we should all know by now, it doesn't look good in regards to returns for some of the larger projects, and that is just going to be a fact. If what I just said shocked you at all or surprised you, I urge you to check out my ratio prediction videos for Acala, Moonbeam and Astar networks. The link will be seen at the top right hand corner of your screen, and you'll quickly see why. Now, the Kusama Parachain, or Parachain auction, should I say, seems to be the place to be for the high returns in regards to Parachain Crowdloans. This is pretty much because the canary networks for these sister nets, so like for example, Karura for Acala or Moonriver for Moonbeam, seem to have a higher return because these projects are actually designed to be tested and trialed on the Kusama network first before the teams can make any sort of changes and then upload those changes or make those changes before their Polkadot counterparts. And we can actually see this in regards to Astar changing their tokenomics right before the crowdloan began. What I'm trying to say is the Polkadot Parachains are supposed to be the bigger sister of their Kusama counterparts, and therefore supposed to be less volatile and a lot more structured. Now, this now leads me back to my point of low rewards. The larger projects like Acala, Moonbeam, and Astar will all generate low ratios for their crowdloan contributors, as there is more demand and teams may make changes on the token distribution, like I've mentioned with Astar. So my idea moving forward is to look for parachains that will offer high ROI while still maintaining a high chance of winning a parachain slot. In today's example, I'll be focusing on the first batch of 5 auctions. However, you can easily replicate a majority of this for the remaining batches. So on each batch, we know there'll be 5 winners. Now you can see the list of all the contenders on the screen now, and let's face the music here, people. Acala, Moonbeam, and Astar are all probably going to win first, second, and third. So therefore, we need to look at who has the chance of coming 4th and 5th. It's the participants competing at this level that will generate the higher ROI, as the hype has followed the 3 aforementioned projects. Ideally, if the 4th and 5th spot looked like it was going to be filled between a brand new, let's just call it ICO coin, that you're only able to participate in via a crowdloan, versus a coin that is openly traded, I would choose the latter personally. I honestly would prefer to invest in the coin on the open market, so I'm able to maintain liquidity and also be exposed to price movement as a result of a slot victory. Plain and simple, the reasoning for this is I don't want my DOT locked away for 96 weeks, no matter how many third parties offer a 1-to-1 liquid DOT ratio or how appealing their additional bonuses are. I will go into what 2 coins I think have a great chance at this in a second with the reasons as to why, but I know things can easily change, so I want to show you a fantastic tool that will let you know this ahead of time, and what you're able to see on screen now is in fact that tool. This is the current amount of DOT contributed to each active crowdloan, so obviously there are quite a few not open yet. But this chart does allow you to assume, and the keyword is assume here, what the DOT contributed to the individual crowdloans may be. Now, the reason we don't take this as the final amount of DOT that a project will participate in the auctions with is because the project itself may have very large bags from early investors and also other means that they are also using to participate with. Also, a single investor may completely blow these figures out of the water as seen in the screenshot here. An individual, whether it was institutional or not, contributed a whopping 3.5 million DOT to Acala. Just crazy. Not to tease you too much, but I wanted to give those of you who were participating in Acala some insight into the use of LC DOT and what the possibilities are here, and this is actually a part of my strategy anyway. This can also work with other third-party projects that are allowing you to gain your contributed DOT back in a liquid form, such as Binance's BDOT, which I'll be making a video on tomorrow, or Equilibrium and Parallel Finance's XDOT. So my original Parachain strategy will be able to work in the instance that Acala wins the first slot, and as you can see from the screenshot, they are currently double the DOT of the next closest project, which is Moonbeam. So it does look like this will realize, but again, far too early to be able to definitely tell. If you wanted to know what the actual strategy was, then check out the video linked at the top right-hand corner of your screen. My strategy is basically a newer and refined version, however, you can still use the old one. And just so you are aware, when I refer to Acala from here on, or more specifically LC DOT, just remember you can swap this out with your liquid DOT variant. So my strategy will firstly require an understanding of your portfolio as a whole. Let's use the example that you are participating with 100 DOT tokens. Then we will need to split this portfolio into two parts. The first I call my LC DOT holdings, which will be 33% of the portfolio, and the second being DOT liquid holdings, which will be the remaining 66% of your portfolio still remained in DOT tokens. So obviously the LC DOT holdings will be used to participate in the Acala Crowdloan under option 2, exposing us to LC DOT and also ACA tokens. In this case, we are offering 33 DOT tokens and will receive a small amount of ACA tokens and the 33 L DOT back at the network launch. Now, Acala does claim the network launch will be immediately after a successful slot is confirmed, which should theoretically be between the 18th and 20th of November, at least again in theory. I wouldn't hold your breath though. When the network is launched, you should also have the ability to convert your LC DOT back into DOT via an AMM, which you should do ASAP as a part of this strategy. This will then be converted back into the rough dollar figure you put in. In this case, it'll be 33 DOT by about $51 per DOT, which is about $1,600, and converted off the network back into a stable coin like USDT, where we will hold it for now. The reason we do this is because one, we have now exposed ourselves to the ACA token, which will grant us somewhat of a return immediately and in the coming years, although it's not much, it's still something. The second is because I want the free NFT, as the bonus percent rewards won't really be all that great at this hypothetical investment. And three is because we really don't know when the network will actually be up and running for sure. Neither do we know when the trading pair between the LC DOT and DOT will be active. So realistically, these funds should be considered useless and not guaranteed you'll receive them in a timely manner. For those of you who are using a third party, I would say you'll have yours back potentially sooner, although you will need to ensure that you're able to convert these back into DOT or a stable coin ASAP. Alternatively though, you could use these funds for liquidity and to earn yield. The opportunities are literally endless, and it's entirely up to you what you do with these funds. And the fourth and final one is because I actually want to use these funds to participate in a promising project that will take full advantage of the bull market, such as Convergence Finance or Saito, for example. However, you can again invest this in whatever you need. I'm just keeping these funds away from the Parachain auctions just to allow me to be exposed to different things. Although in saying that, there is nothing stopping you from reinvesting this into another Parachain as well. Just make sure you convert it back into DOT at least ASAP. And just a quick side note, this percentage shouldn't be solidified in anyone's mind. You could just as well contribute 5 DOT tokens to Acala, and obviously to do this, you will receive the NFT and obviously a fraction of the ACA tokens as well. The more you expose yourself, guys, without spreading capital thin is always a good thing, at least in my opinion. Now, in regards to the remaining 66%, this is the funding for both or either of the 4th and 5th auctions. The reason you are seeing the Tether and DOT tokens on your screen is because I have no idea whether an openly traded token or tokens will win both spots, or if 2 Crowdloan tokens will win, or better yet, one of each. So you need to ask yourself if you're comfortable locking away your DOT for 2 years in the case one or both spots are secured by Crowdloan projects. Ideally, as I have already mentioned, the whole goal is to invest in the project or projects that are openly tradable, such as Clover Finance and Litentry. However, in this case, we won't be able to tell until the time obviously comes. I really can't run through every single scenario with you guys, unfortunately, but I want to mention that if both spots are filled by crowd-loaned projects and you are like me and won't want to lock away your DOT, remember, there are liquid DOT options, including the likes of Binance, if using something like the Equilibrium or Parallel Finance interface is too difficult for you, or you are very, very new. Now, this leads me into what projects I actually believe could win these spots. I think off the start, the most viable contenders would be Litentry, Centrigfue, Clover Finance, Crust Network, and Efinity. Obviously, I have left out some great projects like Dewinia for non-obvious reasons, such as they aren't already trading or the social engagement is not where it needs to be. Now, realistically, guys, I could just say wait until November 30th and December 1st, which are the 2 days prior to the 4th auction, in order to check that DOT funding chart I showed you earlier and place your bet on the project that is coming in 4th. Or in the case of the 5th auction, wait until December 7th and December 8th. But I feel like explaining some metrics that will give you an understanding on what projects may rank up there before that time comes. Also, there will likely be disadvantages on waiting until right before the 4th and 5th auction, which I will mention shortly. Again, this is just to give you an understanding of what may make a project more appealing over the other, as a single person can contribute millions of DOT, like in Acala's case, and blow this right out of the water. As mentioned, waiting until the last few days before the commencement of auction 4 and 5 to ensure a project has the highest chances of winning does have its disadvantages. I would say the most obvious would be hindering returns, as we would be in the latter stages of this bull run. Now, of course, there are super cycle ideologies, but let's just keep it simple. So realistically, these coins may already be higher in price, and therefore holding off for too long may result in you losing potential profits. This is where utilizing the metric information I am about to provide and also regularly tracking where these projects are on the DOT contribution chart is very, very important. You absolutely need to keep a constant eye on this information and decide to invest when you are confident in both the DOT chart and the project's engagement. Now, not to worry, guys, I will be keeping you all updated on my Twitter in regards to who the 4th and 5th contender might be, and probably more so on my Discord. Now, this is obviously important, but don't overcomplicate it, okay? We aren't talking about the difference between tens of thousands of dollars for at least most people. We are maybe talking at max a few thousand. Now, if you are worried about investing in the wrong parachain, then I would simply play it safe and wait until closer to the 4th and 5th auction dates and look at investing in whatever projects seem to be winning, or simply choosing the project that you like the most. I'll personally be waiting until all projects are tracked on the DOT contribution chart, giving it around a week or two from the date that happens, finding the 2 closest to winning the 4th and 5th spot, ensuring their metrics obviously align with a higher social engagement, and pulling the trigger early. I don't want to get caught out waiting too long and investing at higher prices. Obviously, again, keeping you updated on my socials is my goal here as well. Moving on to my indicators. Now, I'm using a website called Lunar Crush to locate the social engagement metric and the shared link metric to understand how popular a project currently is. I will also be using the Twitter followers as a benchmark, although this really isn't as accurate as engagement is more important than the number of followers a project obviously has. So Litentry has 63,000 followers, with social engagement being at 35.1 million and the shared links being at a whopping 8.25k. Now, Centrigfue has 42,000 followers and is not listed on Lunar Crush. Now, we're going to actually find projects that also launched on CoinList, don't actually have any of their social metrics available yet. Now, Clover Finance has 78,000 followers and is not listed on Lunar Crush. Crust Network has 97,000 followers, with social engagement being at 9.96 million and shared links at 970. Now, Efinity has 15,000 followers and no Lunar Crush stats. However, Efinity is extremely endorsed by Engine, who are obviously their creators, which wouldn't surprise me if they invested heavily into the auctions. Also, the backers are extremely top quality, so this one had to be included. Now, I do feel like I should say all of these projects actually do have decent venture capitalist backing, although in my opinion, Efinity takes the cake in terms of quantity and quality. Now, I just wanted to give a quick example of what metrics that don't look appealing actually look like, just so you're well aware. And in this case, it is Darwinian Network. Here we can see Darwinia has 70,000 followers, which is quite impressive, although the social engagement is at 1.3 million and shared links is only 111. When you compare this to any ordinary project, yeah, it may stack up decently. However, when it comes to actually competing with projects that are literally 35 times more engaged with, then it won't win. But then again, anything can happen. Now that I have somewhat justified my reasoning, I think this will realistically come down to a fight between Litentry, Clover Finance, Crust Network, and I'd probably have Efinity in there as a dark horse. One important thing as well, if your capital is spread thin, I would look at investing in one over the other, meaning either the 4th or the 5th Parachain spot. I would also like to point out that if it looks like Project 4 and Project 5 are either going to be or are both not openly traded coins, then I would look at using these funds to invest into a smaller project that has yet to take off, i.e. not a parachain. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but just to reiterate what I was saying about the DOT contribution chart and also the social metrics, I want you to use these to grasp the concept of why a project is potentially receiving more funding than the next. Although at the end of the day, we cannot use this as any form of formal criteria, as the venture capitalist backing and the individual contribution of DOT will alter the outcome. Okay guys, that will sum the video up. Now, I wanted to make this as simple as I possibly could so that you can add or take things away depending on what your strategy may be and how much potential DOT you have to contribute to the parachains. Now, I especially figure this would be great for the beginners as it gives structure that they may already not have. And I also hope this gave you some important do your own research topics to look at as well. Again, use Lunar Crush. It is free for most things, and to go on there and to look at some of the reasons why a certain coin would be better than the next. Again, I've only mentioned 5 here that you can see on screen, and I've obviously broken them down a bit more and taken out Centrigfue. That's just my opinion on these 4 coins that could potentially win. In my complete honesty, if I was to place a bet on 2 coins, well, let's just say 3, because honestly, I definitely think Litentry will place. I think it's between Clover and Crust Network. But also, again, it's very, very hard to tell. It's anyone's guess, so I think it's far too early to be able to definitely tell who's in the lead of who. But I think if you follow what I've mentioned to you in today's video, you'll have a great understanding moving forward. Now, if you did have any more suggestions regarding things or topics I should cover in regards to these last 2, the 4th and 5th auctions, please let me know. I can make a new video closer to the date, and I can obviously let you all know on what's happening. Now, with all that being said, I thank you so much for watching today's video, but most importantly, I hope you have learnt something or adopted or will think about adopting a certain way going forward for the Polkadot Parachain auctions. Now, I would like to announce I will be taking on one-on-one clients for sessions in the next few weeks. So if you would be interested in a paid session, please either email me or DM me on either Discord or Twitter for more updates. But again, I might make a quick YouTube video just announcing this in the next few days. So with that being said, again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.